I don't even know. Let's just talk over the intro the whole time. We forgot to hit record. We forgot to hit record. Oh my gosh! Hey, welcome. Hey, welcome.
Welcome.
This podcast is out of control already. We have gremlins in our podcast studio. The podcast just started. BJ and I weren't ready. We were both fixing our hair. I don't know what's going on. BJ,
are you still going bald?
No, not really.
No. Do you take a supplement for your hair growth?
No. I just wash it every day.
Well, that's good.
Toilet water, to be honest with you. That's the key. Yeah.
Does your wife give you swirlies every morning before you go to work?
No, but the key is to use the upper tank water. It's cleaner. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot cleaner up there. Yeah.
It's a little bit colder too.
It is. It's more chilled. It gets your.
Don't ask us how we know that.
No. You don't need to know these things. Well, but so welcome to the podcast. Enjoy these stories or notes or feedback, whatever BJ says. He told me I was doing this today. I'm not ready. I hit record before I was supposed to. I started talking over the intro. We're not going to clean up any of this.
No.
Nope.
No. This is real life. And
it's here.
I want to say we got a lot of comments and feedback this week on our show last week. And first of all, I just want to say thank you. But second of all, we got a couple of emails of people we don't even know in a business we've never heard of wanting to partner with us now. So, I mean, you better jump on the bandwagon now. It sounds like this thing is going to take off. And the sponsor we got is I'm going to shout out and call out Vivid Sign Co. Okay?
Well, Vivid Sign Co. Uh-oh. We gotta have Josh on. Man.
Josh, we're giving you a chance to come on board, and now this company from the UK is jumping in line first. So,
dude, wouldn't it be awesome if Josh has probably gotten business all over the world, but he signs on with us, and then he's getting his first, I don't know, wrapping something to send it over to the UK, and they fly his whole family over there. He gets to go to.
Is he a golfer?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's one of my golf guys.
Yeah, he could go play at St. Andrews,
He could. And I wonder if he would take me. Probably not. That's okay. We're good enough friends, I'd understand.
If he becomes a sponsor, then we could just use it as a write-off for the show, and it would be a business expense.
Yeah, we got to work harder on this.
Yeah.
All right. We should probably actually get. Yeah, we need studio sponsors. We could actually do video and some other things. Not that anybody wants to see. Currently, I'm sitting here in a shirt that I dropped some cinnamon butter on from eating a roll from Texas Roadhouse today. So
rub it in.
I know. Sorry about that. Sorry, but yeah, sorry. I cut you off about the show thing. I was just rambling.
No, it's fine.
Sponsors. We'll take sponsors. We would take sponsors that are not open on Sundays because we wouldn't take anything away from them. Their people wouldn't be shopping at their stores and be listening to our podcast. So, like Hobby Lobby, Chick-fil-A. Who else is closed on Sundays? Mom and Pops? I don't know. Whatever.
People should really take on that old school mentality, not from a legalistic standpoint, but man, those companies do well, and they just stick to their values of we're not going to be open on Sunday, and good for them.
Yeah, it used to be like the old values where you wouldn't be open on holidays either, but that went away too.
Yeah. I mean, not every holiday worships God, so.
That's true. Very true. Very true. All right, man, how was your last week? Did you do anything exciting?
Exciting? Probably not exciting, but it's been a very just kind of a busy week, kind of a heavy mental week. And so, yeah, just kind of a lot going on, but at the same time, just constant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just constantly on the go, running around. Don't have time to have your popcorn the way you like it. I understand.
Yeah.
Is that the best way to put it?
Sure, that works.
I don't
How
know.
about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Yeah, just I mean, we're kind of always in the same cycle of um Ike's therapies, just Bree working, being gone in the evening sometimes, and then just your normal, hey, what are we gonna have for dinner?
Hmm.
You know. But no, it's been good working in the yard a little bit. It's that time of the year, springtime, trying to get the evenings to work in the yard a lot. That gets unmotivating pretty fast. Um, I did put down. I worked in the yard today and put some seed down to grow some grass. We'll see what happens. The birds will probably eat it all, but whatever. Other
Yeah.
than that, just we're kind of preparing and planning our trip to Louisville, Kentucky for Brenton's national archery tournament. So putting the final touches on that and getting hotel rooms. I will tell you, it's really hard. You know, it's really hard to find double two queen size or even two double size beds in a wheelchair accessible room in hotel rooms. They are
Hmm.
hard to find. Like really hard to find, especially in an area that's having a big event too. So I think we
Because
without
are they
paying,
usually just like a king size bed or what?
or they get booked up pretty quick because they don't have very many of them in hotels. The accessibility of them, or I think honestly, I wouldn't put it past people. People probably use them to get better, more space, and you don't have to prove anything because it'd be against the law to question somebody. So, um, but anyways, until that's actually
That's
proven.
true. You're probably right because I remember I booked one for a work thing once, not on purpose. I just booked a room and that's what they gave me because
Yeah.
that and I had like a roll-in shower, like it was a zero entry shower and all the I'm like, what am I in this room for? And but the it wasn't during a big event or anything. That's why I probably got it is because I wanted main floor access and they that's what
Oh,
they gave
yeah.
me.
Got you something. Yeah. So it's just that becomes, and then just planning out where it's a 10.5 hour drive. So we're
Yeah.
just we're just planning out where to stop, and the whole family's going this time instead of just me and Brenton. So we're planning on things to take the girls to that they haven't done in Louisville where Brenton and I have. So we're just kind of making the most of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've been trying to do that on top of trying to work and then thinking about what day I was going to play golf this coming week, which is Monday. Oh,
You're playing tomorrow?
I am.
Where are you playing?
Crooked Creek.
Crooked Creek. Good old Crooked Creek.
We saw, last time I played there, we saw Dan Whitney there, or Larry the Cable Guy there. It was pretty funny.
Really?
He was telling us stories about when David Wells David Wells was at some event and Donald Trump was there, and David Wells wanted him to go sign a bag or something, and so he went running. Like David Wells went back and got this bag and ran towards it ran towards the president, and the president's like looks at David Wells, and Larry the Cable Guy tells this story really funny because he has all he has the Cable Guy or the tone that he makes and just the way he
Hmm.
says things. He's like Donald Trump just said to him, "Hey David, I got a country to run. I don't think I need to be signing all this stuff." And it was like for a charity and stuff, and he did it. But one fascinating thing is, um, Dan was telling me and my buddy Rob during golf that because we saw him down at the bottom end of the driving range at Crooked Creek as you come up number 9, and he was down there and he spent some time. I was saying, hey, your flop shot's not as good as Phil Mickelson's, and that started the conversation. And we sat there for about 7 minutes in the middle of our round. So people were waiting for us. We're like, we're talking to just leave us alone. And he went on to tell this finished up telling the story about that, and um, any president flies around, or when they go golfing or they go to an event, they have like a trailer that always follows them, like it's nearby. So if something were to happen, they have like an escape pod that they throw the president into, and a helicopter comes by and picks it up, and they take it away, and they get him out of these areas. Because like it was like following around the group. They're like, why is this trailer with this escape pod? He's like, it's the most wild thing. And somebody who was golfing with Donald Trump, they asked him, well, am I going to be, if something were to happen, is there enough room for me? He's like, no, I'm the president. They come and get me only. So it was just funny listening to Dan tell these stories. And he played in that celebrity tournament at the beginning of the year in Tahoe. And I guess he was playing really well, but he didn't, in his mind, wasn't playing well, and he just went up there and like shanked a putt for no reason because he's, Barry the Cable Guy, and just everybody yelled at him. He's like, "Do you realize that if you would have made that, you would have shot like your best score?" And he's like, "I don't care." So yeah, he's entertaining. I love doing his foundation that he does here in Lincoln. So that's coming up in May, at the end of May, first part of June. So hopefully I can still be a part of it through my former employer, who I volunteer with now. So
cool.
So yeah. All that to say, yes, we're playing Crooked Creek. It's supposed to be 86 tomorrow.
Does that mean you're not working tomorrow?
No, I'm going to work.
Oh.
We're going to play in the afternoon.
Gotcha.
We'll get 18 in before dark. Yeah, I don't have very many full vacation days left.
Yeah.
With my planning and my time off and holidays. Still going to live life. So I'll probably be doing that a lot. Take a lot of leave at 12:30, 1 o'clock. Get a 2 o'clock tea time. And it's cheaper prices.
There you go.
And you get in before the leagues start. So, because a lot of times places in Lincoln's gotten so bad, like every course has a league. Like every night, there's hardly any open golf at night.
Yeah, it's just like bowling. That's how they make their money. It's gone away from like memberships and being members at a club or whatever, or a course, but it's gone to leagues because it's a weekly income.
Yeah, well, yeah, 100%. I get why they do it, but the average golfer just wants to go out and play, and it's have a hard time finding a place. But it is what it is. I guess just join a league, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna do that. Other than that, well, this last week was the Artemis 2. Artemis 2? Is that how you say it? Artemis?
Yeah.
NASA, whatever. Their escape pod. I don't know what you call that thing that came back. It came back. It landed in the ocean, splashed down. It made it. Did you follow any of this from beginning to end? Did you watch the YouTube channel and wake up when they woke up so you could watch them eat and float around?
I didn't do that much, but here's my first hot take.
Here we go.
These kind of events are why AI is such a hoax.
Okay.
Because when you get online now, I want anybody to argue this with me that wants to argue this with me, because nobody will, because they know I'm right when I say this. It used to be you had to research things to come up with a conspiracy theory.
Okay, yeah.
But in today's world, in the social media world, the AI world, everything, all of our news, we don't get news from news sources. Now, I've even heard interviews on some other podcasts of people who are like social media newscasters. They're independent people now, but they report the news because the news is so biased. So they're reporting the news, but here's the thing. Nobody no average person that's not in news media, okay, so there's my caveat, I guess, is really researching both sides of an argument. We are so slanted by confirmation bias, meaning we are going to find what we look for. And our feeds, our algorithms show us that every single day just because they're listening to us and all the things, right? So whatever you are slanted towards, your social media is going to show you because it wants to keep you entertained and it wants to keep you happy. That's so here's my argument with things that are could be newsworthy, history making, yada yada yada. Nobody ever knows what to believe because we don't know what's true and what's fake. And case in point, I was tried to follow the Artemis thing, not like strictly or going to certain places or trying to do exactly what I'm arguing against, but it was like I was getting information 2 days early. And I'm just like, okay, that's cool. And then, we're sitting here saying, oh, they're going to land tonight. I'm like, they already landed 2 days ago. I saw the video of it. And it's
Yeah,
like, no,
that's
you
how I
didn't.
went
I'm like, yeah, I
when I
did.
went to when I went to go watch me and Brenton sat down and watched the shuttle go off that Thursday. I think it was a Thursday. It went and or whatever. No, it was April 1st. I think it was April 1st. Yeah, it was April 1st because I think the joke was that they
Yeah.
conspiracies was say.
Yeah.
So Brent and I watched it, and I literally was like, "We're gonna watch it on a channel that I know is not gonna slant it one way or the other." Because every time I kept on flipping it to whatever X channel, not really X channel, but Fox or CNN or whatever, they just turned it into something that it probably shouldn't have been, and it's just like, so you know what we ended up watching it on? C-SPAN. And then watched it over on the Weather Channel of all places.
Yeah.
They had the best. They had the best angles. They had the best angles, and no one cared. They were just talking about the weather and talking about this and that. And C-SPAN, they didn't talk about anything. They just threw all the video feeds on, and you just sat there and watched it.
Yeah. No.
So
yeah. So I guess what's your take on it then? I could go off on this topic, but
what's my take? Well, my take is I mean, I find it interesting. I'm with you. I find it interesting, but I also find it's very. I can see where people can go the conspiracy because, like, why did we wait so long to do something like this? Like, why
who
did
says
it go?
we have?
Well, that's exactly right. I don't know what to believe anymore. But also,
that's my whole point. Is like, if NASA has been around as long as they have, and this is always about a competition with Russia or somebody else, and with the technology that we have today, why are we not seeing every single blast off? There's space stations all over the space, according to NASA or whomever, and it's like, why aren't we seeing all of that?
Yeah, I guess I would. I guess I'd slant more towards until there's actual, or I guess whatever the proof. To me, if we were the first ones to the moon, right, and it was a rush to the moon back in the day, and we were against the Soviets and Russia, don't you think? I mean, they confirmed that we did it. Don't you think they would have called us out a long time ago, and it wouldn't have been?
Didn't they?
Well, I mean, they never came out and said that we didn't.
Or has it been blackballed from us?
I don't know.
If you go over and you go visit, it's just like when I went to Cuba, and you go visit some of the sites in Cuba, and you talk about the Cuban Missile Crisis, and you talk about some of these things that we as Americans are inundated with our version of the story. World War I, World War II, the Gulf War, those kind of things, Cuban Missile Crisis. We have our slant, and our media and our country gives us the side of the story that we want to hear. But there's always another side of the story.
Well, I believe that, yes.
So that's where I'm just like, and why aren't we hearing about Russia doing it or China doing it? And if they're not doing it, why doesn't anybody else care? My other take on this is, if we're going to go and make a trip around the moon to be the furthest point away in our galaxy of any human being has ever been, and I just watched Project Hail Mary last night too.
Okay.
Why not stop? Why not do it again? Why not stop on the moon again? Why go around the moon and say, "Oh, we did it. We went to the first." Why not stop again?
Yeah, I'm not a engineer of any sorts. I don't know what it takes to land and take back off
And that was my
versus
point. Yep.
just floating by or whatever you
Correct.
want to call it,
Correct.
or using gravitational pull to kind of get you around
Correct.
because that's what other thing too is interesting. Is like, well, why do they have to go this route, or why do they, it's just like people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's science. Like
Yeah.
they've been doing that science for a very long time. I'm trying to remember what's the movie with, um, man, what's the movie that came out not long ago about the group of African American ladies who were like super mathematicians for the space program. What was the name of that movie?
Um,
It's a really good movie. Like, man,
yeah,
what is it
I know
called?
what you're talking about.
Who?
It's around the civil rights era, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
had to
yeah.
be in different buildings. And
Yep. Yep.
what? Tom Hanks wasn't in that movie, was he?
I don't remember. I can't think. The Help. Is that
Help.
what it was? That wasn't
No,
it.
The Help is something else. The Help was about what was it called? Man, we're not doing due diligence of this, but
No,
that
this
was
is
a really good movie. But I mean, they went back and said that all those calculations are all still similar to the same today. That they're still utilizing um, the same thing. So well, I can't remember that movie. Whatever movie it is, it's really good. People, you should go watch it. Maybe we should phone a friend, Nate. Let's call
Nate.
Nate.
Let's call Nate. Nate will know.
What is that movie called? Oh man, it's a good cast of people. But anyways,
Yeah,
long
no,
story
I
short.
I hear you, and no, I'm glad that. So again, what NASA's been around. We got astronauts, we got these people, and I told my wife this as we're watching this because we're sitting there just talking on both sides like we are right now about this and like what is true, what is not, how do we know, where's the proof? Here's the bottom line. When we ask the why questions in our logical mind that we want answers to, why this or why not that, the why questions are questions nobody wants to answer
Mm-hmm.
because they're hard to answer. And really, when you get an answer, probably the people don't care anyway. But that's the frustrating part of this is because I think when we think about these kind of things, this guy, the guy that was the main, I might get this wrong because I haven't done my research here, but
Are you talking
the
about the
the crew
pilot,
chief, yeah, the crew chief on Artemis,
Victor Glover?
he's he has been he's older. He's had a career.
I think
Correct?
that I know. Yeah, I think so. I think that's who. Well, there's a gentleman named Reed. He's the veteran leader and the oldest person ever. So you're talking about Reed Wiseman. His name is Reed Wiseman.
Okay. So with with that being said, we've got we've got this entire space program, and these are the four best astronauts that we're going to send up, or are these the four that we just didn't really care if they lost their life?
Uh, I think it's all about like these missions are like planned out so far in advance. Like NASA, I've read something that NASA spends billions and billions of dollars of research. Actually, I read something. What's the difference between SpaceX and NASA? Like SpaceX doesn't. I mean, they do their research and their R&D and all that stuff, but they have technology that they're willing to, if they lost it, they're okay. NASA will test everything to the nth degree, and they will go years past the time a mission should have went. So my understanding is these groups would be already planned out a long time ago.
But what I just
Um,
looked up is this crew was selected 3 years ago.
okay, so this could be a different situation, but yes, okay, continue.
So here, here's the thing. I want to believe that what we see is true. I want to believe that we landed on the moon in the 60s and it was great and it was what it is. Now, yes, people can pick anything apart. They can pick apart our podcast and tell us how stupid we are. I mean, I get it. But I want to believe that there was only one shooter in the JFK thing. I want to believe that all of these different things, the things we see, are true. So I'm sitting here and I'm hearing about this crew because I don't pay attention. But I'm like, this guy's already served an entire career. Is this his reward? He gets to go on this mission? I mean, I think about that in the terms of government. Like, we're literally electing somebody who's 75, 80 years old to be the leader of our country. We don't have somebody in their 40s that's a much better capable leader? Come on. How stupid are we?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
I
I'm not trying to be
100%.
age discriminatory here. That's not what I'm saying. But if something is going to be so risky as space travel, that we've only done this like twice in the history of the world, then I would hope that we're putting our best people. And I'm not saying they're not. I hope they are. I just know that
Maybe
there
there's
are
not
some
enough,
really smart people in the world.
yeah, maybe there's not enough people that are interested in space programs.
That's the
I
other
mean,
argument, for sure.
yeah, I was going to ask you this, like you growing up, did you have a fascination with space program stuff?
No,
Yeah, I didn't
no.
really either.
I didn't like Star Wars.
Well, well, okay, that's separate.
Okay.
Let's separate Star Wars from NASA. Star Wars is real.
Oh man. Yeah. No. So
I
like
just don't
to
want the
your
Star
question,
Wars
that's a
people
good
after.
question. What was your growing up, what was your career path of fantasy, if you will? Police officer, firefighter, astronaut?
I honestly don't. I mean, I I was so into sports back in the day. Like I just did so many things, and then or always had a bat or a ball or something. Um,
Yeah. Okay.
I
No,
mean,
mine was
my dad.
pilot. I wanted to be a pilot.
Okay, all right, yeah, but like, which is what's the other thing that's cool about it is like for instance, like Brenton, he the dude's gonna be an engineer of some sort. Like he is so fascinated about recreating and building and doing all these things. There's a program he's had on his phone forever, even before the space launch, that you could build rockets and he's had it on his phone forever as a free game, and you just send stuff up to space to see how well you do and see if it explodes or see what you do. He came back and this last week, and wanted to buy it for the computer and the actual full version. The dude recreated. I think he spent a couple hours today recreating it down to the science of the whole space Artemis 2. He's like, I went and researched every little thing about it and recreated it and built it.
That's
And
cool.
I think that's cool. I think that's what um I I think that's the things that I think what the space programs are supposed to be about, right? About creating the next engineers or whatever. I guess it's hard nowadays because the kids got they're in they're in their phones. You're not doing very much. They're not outside running around pretending to be an astronaut.
Or they're making apps or doing things that are incredibly smart and
Well,
gifted.
yeah, there is that
I
too.
mean, there's teenagers that are making more money than I'll ever make in my lifetime, and it's just like, wow. I mean, there's like, I'm with you. Brenton's that way. Cooper's that way. We say that all the time about Cooper. Like, your brain is on a different level,
Oh yeah,
and that's really cool. Yeah, for sure. No, I think here's my last question on Artemis, and then I'll drop it. And I don't think anybody will respond to this, but maybe you know the answer. One of the things that they were talking about when they would take in the pictures of the Earth, like,
yeah.
this is the fullest we've ever seen Earth from, because we're furthest away. We've been able to see it as a whole, the whole globe or whatever. And I'm like, here's the thing I don't understand. We can get a picture of Earth, and we can get a picture of the moon, and we can talk about how illuminated these things are in those pictures.
Yeah.
But when we're on the other side, or the Earth is spinning, because if we believe science is what it is, the Earth rotates on its axis. That's day and night, and how we get our day and night because it's a facing away from the sun. Correct?
I would agree with that.
I'm simplifying this as best I can. So when we're away from the sun, that part of the globe is dark.
So how do we get a picture of that asshole? Earth.
Where are we? Why are we not taking pictures in the space atmosphere that include the sun? Why can we not see the sun?
I don't know.
I just Googled it, but then I don't know what to trust. Is this really the sun, or is this some rendering of it? Nobody talks about that. Now, I did hear some of this in the argument about the Artemis stuff is like, oh, we can't see the other planets' moons. So we're in our own, what's the word I'm thinking of? Our own Milky Way. Galaxy. Our own galaxy. Yes. We can only see our moon. We can't see like the different moons of the different planets because we're not in that galaxy. So, but the sun, the biggest star in the entire galaxy that every planet orbits around according to science that we've been taught, right? And I'm going to turn this to faith real quick. The sun.
Yes.
If every planet is rotating in orbit around the sun, you would think that when we take a space picture, we could see the sun.
Do you think that maybe it's too close that you couldn't and your camera would just melt?
No, because if we're taking pictures the other way, then
no,
that's another thing, that it is like incredibly hot in the galaxy, in the atmosphere. Like if they went outside, they would disintegrate, not because of not necessarily the pressure, but the heat. Is it the
heat, or what? Then how come every movie makes it seem like it's cold?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. But like they talk about the temperature, the surface temperature of, like I heard this astronaut that was on the moon landing. They were interviewing this last week, and he was talking about if they would have stayed longer, their equipment would have burned.
Yeah, I believe it.
So I'm just like, that makes sense to me. But let me turn this and let me make science into faith real quick. We sit here and we talk about the galaxies and the sun and all of the planets orbiting around the sun.
Mm-hmm.
But what if the sun really is Jesus?
Yeah.
And the sun is all of us like spinning around in awe and wonder of the light that he brings. Just a thought.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the only time we don't really like it, the sun, is when it gets the sunburns. That's only because you're doing bad things.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It's a good thing. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's like, how come we don't have pictures? And we get the other, planets and everything. You can't see those. And I heard somebody say that, how come you can't see other stars in these pictures? Wouldn't there be other stars? Or are they just not that close? Because like the sun is so far away. Are these other stars just that far away that even from the moon to the earth, there's really not stars in between because they're way far away? That was another thing I heard. And I never really thought about it.
Yeah.
You just thought that you just go straight up, you just go straight north, right? Because we're flat earth, right? We just go north. Just go north. You get to space, right? And there should be stars there. So I thought that was...
Well, and
go ahead.
That was just my whole thing, because there was one image that they took, I think it was from Artemis, where they took a picture of the moon, or a little bit of a video shot of this shadowy thing going across the surface of the moon. But from what I read, that was like a meteor that was going across and it wasn't real close to the moon, but it looked like it was because of the distance the ship was from.
it was also I think it's the same video that I know what you're talking about, where I also saw comments that we were like, "Look, this is shot in a sound studio. Look at this bird fly across the screen." You're
Yeah,
like, it
yeah.
doesn't even look like a bird. Whatever. Oh, I mean, it could have been a pigeon. Pigeons aren't real.
But that's
Pigeons are
just
just
that.
pigeons are just government spies.
Yeah, that's just my whole point. Is like we don't know what's real and what's fake anymore, and that just sucks. It really
Yeah,
sucks.
it does.
Because
Yeah.
as good as AI and Chat GPT can be for us, and it has done and changed a lot for the better, and we continue to see technology advance, and this is one of those things like we don't even know. What we know in the public is only a sliver of what's really done and known in the government and what's known in
Oh,
NASA. I mean,
they've been using this stuff for a long time before it was even
exactly.
available to the public.
Exactly. Yep.
100%. 100% agree on that. Yeah. Oh, hey, and I got a, I got a message from our studio audience. That movie is called Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures, that was a good one. That was a good
Yes,
movie.
that's what that movie was.
So I did go see, I mentioned this earlier, I did go see Project Hail Mary this weekend.
I've heard about it.
And about space.
Okay. And
It's way too long.
how long a movie is it? Is it like
Oh,
three
no. Is
hours?
that a bad joke or something? Like, how long a movie is
No, no. I mean,
it?
now movies, it seems like movies are literally 2 hours and 45 minutes minimum.
Well, maybe that's what it is, and I just think that's too long. I mean, you're gonna go sit, and the movie says it starts at 7:20. You get there, and you got to watch a flip an hour of previews, and it's like start showing those at 6:30, and so we don't. When we get there, the movie starts at 7:20.
Do you
Like,
think
come
movies
on,
should have intermissions like Broadway
no,
shows?
no.
Oh, just
I
make it
think
shorter.
a movie should be at max 2 hours and 15.
2 hours
At
and 15
max.
minutes?
Yeah,
All right. All
because
right.
it's like everybody you get. Now this one was based on a book, and okay, and they did a good job. And I mean, if it was an hour and 45 or 2:15, I'd probably be like, well, maybe I should go read the book because usually the books are better. But when you sit through a 3 hour movie, you're like, yeah, I don't know what else you could have squeezed out of that book. That's probably the whole book right there. So
Yeah,
it was
I was gonna ask you. You said it was a good movie, but have you never had seen it before, or read the book or anything?
no, no. It was good. It was cute. It brings. I'm a deep thinker sometimes,
Gotcha.
and so again, when you talk about conspiracy theories and you talk about other things going on, this whole movie, the book or whatever, the premise of it, there's so much. It's going to sound very Star Wars esque, but there's a lot of still in our world good versus evil. It doesn't matter if it's coming out of Hollywood or if it's coming out of the church. There's there's so much that's done that slants. Here's good, here's evil, here's moral, here's immoral, here's ethical, here's unethical. What are you going to choose? And it's we're all faced with the same place where it's like, okay, how are you going to choose to live your life in such a way? Are you going to go to the good or go for the benefit of others, or are you going to be selfish? You know what I'm saying? So there's really good in that if you're looking for it and you're thinking about things. I mean, what's really kind of was kind of cute about this. I mean, they find another spaceship and they find another life form and they learn how to communicate with each other, and then they just kind of go through that whole deal, and then I don't want to give it away, but I mean, then there's choices made at the end of the movie that have to do with relationships that are formed rather than what might be the best thing to do for yourself or for your country. So, yeah, I mean, Spaceball, duh.
And Spaceball 2 is about to come out.
Oh, oh wow. That's that's probably not necessary, but
No. I mean,
you know,
we can't have Barf come.
no. Well, and so I think that whole genre, I would. It's just weird.
But what do you think? Okay, so we know that like Hollywood mimics like what things happen. Like there's things in movies that you're like, whoa, I didn't know that existed, and then later on in life we get it, right? So it has to
Yeah,
come from somewhere, right? So
right.
like there are very creative and very intelligent people way beyond me. I mean, it's not hard, but way beyond me that and that come up with these things. There are so much like these space movies, like I don't know, The Martian, and I don't
Is
know.
that
Did
the
you ever
one where
see
he's
the?
growing potatoes in the ship or
Yeah,
something? Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah. It's just stuff like that, and there's one. What was the one? Well, either way, just the one with Matthew McConaughey, where he was like a retired NASA guy, and they had to
Space
go find.
Cowboys.
No, not Space Cowboys. Man, what's the
Oh.
name of that movie? I'm really bad at these movies on the fly. But it's one where they had to go find a new Earth because the Earth was dying. So,
Well, that's what this one was premised on. There's something eating away at the solar system, and they got to go protect it, save it.
like a giant lizard. So, well, cool. Well, there's a space program, people. Everything you wanted to know from the Failed podcast.
And really, you should probably just erase this from your memory bank because it really
Yeah, we
doesn't
don't know
matter.
what we're talking about. We have no
So,
idea what we're talking about. But I did see about the space program on C-SPAN of all places. They did like a history of somebody who was in part of the space program up till like 2012 or something. Uh, she broke down like the steps of why, um, you know, barriers that they ran into, like the Challenger issues. You know, when the Challenger blew up, and then was it what was the one that came back and blew up on reentry? I think that was Columbia. I don't remember the name.
well, I thought that was one of the Apollos.
No, it was but it was the shuttle that blew up that when it came back. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So, did you hear the interview? One of the first interviews with the Artemis crew, and they said, "What's the biggest surprise so far?" And the one guy said something to the effect of, when the shuttle took off from the rocket took off back into space, and the
Yeah.
he's like, I can't believe that actually happened. I'm like, we've been doing this long, and that's what your biggest takeaway is, that it actually worked. Come on.
Well, but I mean, they can't really test it.
I know that's the whole thing, and I think that's why this is such a big deal. It's like we haven't advanced far enough that we can't. I mean, we put test dummies in cars and run them into crash sites, right, to see how it's going to impact them. You would think we could do something to that effect with the technology we have. No,
Yeah, I mean, no, because we'd rather put it into other conspiracies and buying off
well,
politicians.
speaking of that, we've spent 45 minutes on this. We need to get off of it.
Have we
But
really? Oh my gosh! Look at this.
here's the thing. Have you watched the show 11/22/63
No.
about the JFK
Why did
thing?
you just give away my combination to my locker back in high school?
Sorry. Uh, that person at Lincoln East can get into locker 719,
Oh, I was gonna say 256.
or the 3 gym lockers he had for the 6 gym classes he took. Uh,
Wowzers, jeez! How about you just completely destroy me? Hey, I still graduated. That's what I say.
you did.
I think he's eating popcorn. Everybody, what kind of movie theater popcorn?
I
Ugh.
guess my wife. I asked for a surprise from Trader Joe's, and she brought me
Oh,
some
I've had the
popcorn.
Trader Joe's movie theater popcorn. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not. Could be better.
Anyway,
So, anyways, yeah. Is this a? Did you say this is a show?
it's on Netflix. It's a kind of a time travel show too, but it's talking about trying to save the JFK assassination. So it's kind of interesting. Obviously not real because we can't time travel, but Ooh, okay, another conspiracy
So
theory.
you're telling me the Back to the Future is not a real movie? I just literally watched like cl- parts of that movie multiple times, 1, 2, and 3.
I don't know.
If you could time travel, would you?
Yeah,
Right. Where do you think? What would? Oh, this is. I'm gonna have to figure out how to phrase this without just getting obviously the obvious of meeting somebody. No, let's not do that. I don't know where I'm gonna go with this.
you don't know where you're gonna go.
No, I
Hey,
don't know what
move
I'd do for.
move your mic down towards your chin. Sounds like you're out in a windstorm.
Is that better?
That's better.
Is that
Thank you.
because the fan is?
Oh, move it down further.
How about I just run away?
Come on, sound guy. You know you can be. It can pick you up still. No, I
If it
think.
was,
I
but
think for
if you time traveling, you
yeah.
would do it.
So to your point, I think the reason I say that without hesitation is, and this is going to sound very arrogant. I think probably now that I'm thinking about it, I would do similar to on this show. I would probably go back to see how I could change history. Like if you could.
Yeah.
So here's a question that was asked in this show, sort of, but it makes me wonder. Like if so, the whole premise. I'm going to be spoiler, okay? But if you know history, it's
I
not.
watch it, but no, I.
You
Oh, you
should
mean
still. You should still. Yeah. So
history is like JFK being shot still
yeah, they're trying to
from the
go.
from the
The whole
driver
premise of the
from the
show is
driver? Yeah, yeah. The driver shot him. Okay, got it.
yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
The whole premise of the show is to try to go and take out Lee Harvey Oswald so that JFK survives. And so then that's the whole premise of, well, then it was just one shooter. Well, even in the show, they talk about, well, I don't even know if this is for real going to work or all the things. Well, so it does keep you kind of hanging on to see how it would change history, but they obviously can't do that because you don't know how history would have changed.
Well,
But
as I say, why would I mean if you go back and change history, that rewrites a bunch of other things. Do you agree?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So here's my question to you. What would be the greatest impact to change? Would it be a greater impact to go back and have somebody kill Adolf Hitler before he was even thought of? Would that be a greater impact than,
Gee,
say, the JFK assassination or the Abraham Lincoln assassination? Or what do you think?
man, you threw Hitler out there.
Well, yeah. I mean, wouldn't you agree
Just
that?
saying. Oh, 100% agree. That's why I'm like, I can't even think of anybody else right now because I'm trying to.
So in this show, they talk about I would because he asked that question. What would you go back and change? And somebody said I would not even let Hitler and Stalin meet. And then somebody said, well, they didn't even meet and all this stuff. So there's conspiracy theory written into it, but I think that changed a major course of history. There's obviously other things that changed the course of history. Um, but yeah, which one would you go with?
I can't get my mind off the Hitler one because I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
that did impact the world. Like, like big time. We all have heard stories, read stories, seen, we've had somebody that we've known that's been impacted by the war, war by that. Um, I don't know. I don't have anything else besides what you just said right now.
How
Do
about
you
a
have do
how
you have
about a
another one?
how about a serial killer? How about stopping? Is that just as important as Hitler?
Yeah? Can we just put a stop to all of them?
Right? I
So,
could say I
the
could
other
say
thing,
something else really personal, but
but
I won't go
but
there.
just the same thing is like out of all of those, like the problem is there's something I don't even want to use the word, but there's something about getting rid of a serial killer and whatever. There's things that come out of that, like, um, being able to investigate differently or testing. So if you didn't have that, you wouldn't be able to use it to benefit future things. So I'm trying. So yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Somebody asked the question. This was in one of our. Maybe we did it on the show. I don't remember, but it seemed like we were having this conversation with our kids one night as to if you could commit a crime, but it's the last time that crime would ever be committed. It
So
would
like you
it would
eliminate the crime because you
you
did it.
you eliminate the crime because yeah, but you have to commit the crime to eliminate the crime. That's like a would you rather kind of situation that man, that's a tough one to put yourself in.
Yeah. Do you remember what some answers were?
Yeah, but I mean you wouldn't want to commit the crime. And it's like I'd rather just eradicate the crime and not have that even as an option, period. I definitely don't want to commit the crime.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Yeah.
Because do you have to pay for the consequences of committing that crime then?
Well, that's a whole
And it
nother
goes
level.
away?
It's a whole nother level of that conversation, sure.
Jeez.
Yeah, just
Computer
food for
fraud.
thought.
Computer fraud. I'm going with computer fraud.
No more conspiracy theories.
Get clean AIs,
I think
clean and legit AI results.
I think one that one of the kids said, which I thought was really good because it would not only would it get rid of a crime or a bad act, but then it would bring light to a bunch of different things that people could be punished for. But they said I would eliminate the ability to tell a lie. And so if you couldn't tell a lie, if there was no such thing as dishonesty or lying,
Yeah, Jim
think
Carrey
about
tried
how
to do that in
right,
Liar
but
Fire.
think about how different our justice system would be if you could not tell a lie.
Yep, because there are good human beings that have to lie for their jobs to keep people from. Well, we hope they're good human beings.
Well, I mean that's just the thing, right? It's like I think about that from a personal standpoint. If somebody would just stop lying, it'd be over.
True stories. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
So anyway,
What's your in your comments, people? What's your greatest lie ever? Just tell us all your
jeez.
greatest lies. I'm not going to say what the confession was, but there was a confession to
Yeah.
a story on from our podcast recently. I'm not going to call them out or anything like that. But it is a confession to a story that was told on the podcast about who else might have been involved. And
Are you
it's neither of us.
No, it's neither of us, but are
Yeah.
you going to confess your biggest lie then right here on the show?
My biggest lie?
Yeah, if you're asking our guests to or our audience to, are you going to confess yours?
Um, sure. Do I know what my biggest lie is? Do I even know what my biggest lie is? I have one foot larger than the other.
And that's your biggest lie.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you are you telling me that you know my biggest lie?
No, I don't think I do.
Okay, good. Good. I'm doing a good job of lying to you then. No, no, because that's not the purpose of this podcast. We're supposed to read everybody else's comments with no names. We just say them out loud. Um, yeah, no, that's probably not a good idea. But think about it though. That would be an interesting thing to think about if you could. Yeah, lying. That's an interesting one. What that would be like about lying, right? Or just anything, any crime.
Because that affects other crimes, like somebody who says, I'm innocent, I didn't do it, but they're in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Are they?
Yeah. Man, this podcast game really get really deep for a second.
Well,
or it's just your hand deep in that bag of popcorn.
hey, I'm making sure that it's not. The only thing it's picking up is the sound of the bag.
And you're chewing. You're okay though.
I'm a soft chewer.
Anyways, what's going on this week with you? Got anything as we close out this podcast?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to lie about it all.
Oh, okay.
No, I got a busy week. Yeah, I don't really want to say here, but yeah, there's a lot going on um, in our world, in our family, and a lot happening. Elliot turns 18 tomorrow, so
Look at
here's
that.
here's some news. All of my children will be adults after tomorrow.
Dang, dude.
So yeah,
Although, yes, that's crazy.
all of my core children. Yep,
That's nuts.
isn't
I
it?
remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday. They were tiny little babies. Well, we've known your kids since they've been babies. So that's crazy. But, as we get older, that's what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad you're going through all this before I do, because then you can answer all my issues.
And that's one of the things that, like, with Heidi and I, her kids are younger, and now that I get to be a step parent and be involved in their lives, it's pretty cool. But it's also like she'll come to me with something that's going on, and I'm like, hey, why don't you try this or this or this? Because I can't be step in and be parent. But what is interesting, and they don't listen to this, so I can say it, but is, I mean, her and I are a team, and so she comes to me with stuff like, I don't know what to do about this situation. I'm like, why don't you try this? And she's like, well, how do you know that? I said, because I've been through it.
Yeah.
I already know. So.
Yeah, I had this week. It's kind of interesting. I had a conversation with somebody at work this week whose kid probably won't be able to go back to school for the rest of the semester because of something he said or did. And it's a kid that she had before she met her current husband. And so I asked that question. I was like, how does he support you in this? Because it's not his kid, right? Like, she's kind of going at it alone because it's her kid. That father is not in the picture. And so I asked, like, how's that support going? And I was curious to see what she would say about how her spouse is helping with the situation, in supporting or just kind of letting this kid know who's in their in their teens that what they have done is super serious and what they said. I mean,
Who is it?
it's nobody you know.
I'm just,
I know. But
just
yeah, so yeah, I was just it's nice that you say that because that's one way that you can support your spouse in that stuff, especially um I know the relationships and you convey those too to me about with Heidi's kids, but I mean, they're not your kids, and I think that's the hardest with a blended family sometimes is the mom or the husband and the wife, how to parent or how to help parent through those situations and
so
navigating through that.
you're right. You're absolutely right. But let me say something. I know I'm going to go deep here for a minute because
You're fine.
this matters in this day and age when I don't know what the number is now, but it used to be 60% of marriages end in divorce. So the majority of people in this country are part of a blended family in some way, shape, or form. And the reality of it, if you are a healthy person who has self-awareness that the fact of the matter is the world does not revolve around you as an individual, but you have people in your life that you either have to care for or that care about you. We need to be aware of the fact that these kids matter. It doesn't matter if they were yours biologically or not. And I want to say this component because this is what I strive to do, and whether it's right or wrong or indifferent, you can decide, listener. But my goal is that all of my kids, no matter if they're mine or not, know that they are loved, that they are valued, that they are going to be protected and taken care of.
100%.
Also, to your point, and this just happened this week in our home as well, all of my kids, no matter if they're mine biologically or not, are going to know that disrespect of a parent is not going to be tolerated. And it doesn't matter if that's your biological parent or not. We are going to treat each other with respect and love, and that's what's going to happen. And so when those places where you can't always speak into something because you're not the parent or it's not viewed that way because of the relationship, and timing and age plays a huge factor in this. Okay. But they can still know, no matter the age, no matter the involvement, that they are loved, that their parent is loved, and that they can still experience love even in a broken family.
Correct. I was reminded of, I just thought of this, and it reminds me of, like our friendship, that I would do anything for your kids and vice versa, right? And even now your blended kids, like there's an investment in there. And I saw this little quote this week, and it just hit me now, thinking about what you just said about taking care of, kids and who they are and in the respect. I saw this thing where is a story, it could just be, if it's a real story, it's an awesome story. If it's a made up one to get clicks, it is what it is, but it resonates. This kid called this guy, he just called this phone number they saw on a photo next to his dad's side of the bed, and his dad had passed away, and he needed something fixed. He needed a bike fixed or something. I don't know if you've ever seen this story before, but he called him, and the kid says who he is, and he says, "How'd you get my number?" And the kid says, "My dad told me before he passed away that the phone number on the back of the picture but in the bedside, if you ever need anything when I'm gone, that's just me. That's my best friend who's just like me. That's your person. You can count on that person." So I wish I could do the story justice and say it the way it is, but it just kind of reminds me of, we have those people in our lives that we can just go to, and they'll be right with you, because of the investment piece. We've talked about investment in our friendship on this podcast, and that's why this podcast is what it is sometimes. So not sometimes, all the time. But so anyways.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
so true. And it continues to be more and more true and evident the more that you become aware. I mean, I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks, and I haven't said this to you, but here we are going raw after an hour of talking about conspiracy theories.
Save the best for last.
How dumb are we? But I was thinking about this, and in all seriousness, I have to say this to you, Justin, because like our friendship has lasted all of these years, and there's times like in my life and even in the last month where I've sat here and I've like, man, even though I've found my person and my spouse, and I have this incredible marriage now, and I have this woman in my life who loves me more than anybody has loved me, and yet there's times when you go through what we call the ugly part of life, where you're just sitting in it together and you're both in it because you're in the same boat. Your people are in it with you and they're there for you, but they're not always in the boat with you. You're not going through the muck with us all the time,
Yeah.
just like, you know, but at the same time, in those places where what I'm trying to get at is there's those places where that gets lonely, and loneliness can set in even though you're next to your best person.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to Justin and to my parents and to some of these other friends that are out there, not here with me close, but especially you, Justin, something I've just thought about lately is just I'm so thankful for you never making me feel lonely. And I just know that I can always count on that. And I appreciate that, so just wanted to say that, throw that out there.
Well, hey, thanks, man. It's not even. I wish there. I wish I had to do a lot to do it, but it's just.
No, no, stop, stop. Here's the thing that people don't know. I don't care if we go over
There's
for
no
another.
try
If
to
we
get rid
no,
of our friendship.
can I mute
No,
you
go
for
ahead.
a second?
I'll mute
No,
here. I'll mute. I'll mute it. Here we go.
no. These are those places where some people don't understand. Like Justin always would say to me, because I would always talk to him about how loyal of a friend he is and how much investing. We talk about this in other places. You invest in people in ways they don't even realize that you're doing it. And you invest in people and you give them multiple opportunities to be your friend. You have lots of friends and all of them at different levels, but when they're your friend, you invest in them. You check in. You are doing everything, and I've asked you this before. How do you continue to do it when you don't get anything in return? And you're just like, that's just what a friend does. And I'm like, yeah, but you're talking about people that don't do the same thing and it's not the same level. And therefore you still have consider them a friend. And now we both know that there's been people in your life that they've cut you off for whatever
Yeah.
reason and you've
Yeah.
stopped trying and you've stopped investing in that. But it doesn't change the fact that, and we talked about that in recent history with what I went through costing you a friend. And you're not the only one in that. I mean, there's people that are friends to Heidi and I now that they've costed them friendships because of certain circumstances and certain things that have happened. But you invest so well, and there's times where it makes me feel guilty because I have not always invested back in the same way. But yet, even when I drop my phone in the toilet, you still have stuck by me.
Oh, yeah. That's the story we're gonna go with. Dropping in the toilet.
If you've ever had to
We
fish a
all.
phone out of a toilet, it's not something to joke
I
about.
already told you I washed my hair in the toilet.
That's true. You did.
So
And
full
now we're
circle.
full
Full
circle.
circle. Well, I appreciate that. I think that's just. I think that's the um, the love and the traits that God's given to me over time. It's been learned. I'll tell you that much. you 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 have to adapt, and as we get older, you don't make a lot of new friendships. Obviously, you've established yours, and I mean, there are acquaintances, but yeah. Well, I appreciate that, man.
Well,
I think
there's
about it all the time too. I think about it. Just this, I forgot to tell you this last podcast was the week that you came and dedicated Brenton. That was the week that you came to Lincoln. Uh, so there's been milestones too that have been awesome to been keep a part of, and looking forward to other milestones. So
yeah,
it's all good.
yeah, for sure. That's been. I think the older we get too, the more that we have those nostalgia moments that we think about these things, and they become more meaningful to us, especially as life continues to go on. And I'm going to say this. I got to say this. I've got to give a shout out. And I know there's parts of our lives that are private, and there's parts of things that we say or do privately that will never be on the podcast, and that's okay. I just am thankful not only for you and your friendship and Becky's friendship, but the way that your kids, like you talk about the kids and the kids. I mean, just in the last week, I've heard from both of your kids on conversations we were having, and I want to say this to you. I'm gonna embarrass him, and I'm sorry in advance, but I mean, I got a text from your son this week, and I'm at birthday dinner with my son, my youngest son, and I showed him the text, and he looks at me and he goes, "Wow, that's heavy," and he's like, "That's really cool though," and I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, it's really cool," and so good job, but also to your kids, great job. Keep being yourself. Keep being true to who you are and what God's called you to do. Don't ever give up on it.
Yeah, that's one thing that Brenton asked me for your number this week, and I was like, all right, cool, here you go. I was like, most people were like, why do you need his number? What are you gonna talk about? Don't talk about me behind my back. But it's just like, all right, you can have his number. We all know it's gonna end up on the pod. No, just joking.
It's on the back of the picture, no matter what.
It's on the back of the picture. Now it's in his phone. But I do know that my kids having your number and having anybody in your family's number, anybody, you know, if they needed something, we know that you guys would be there. So, yeah, no, I am still amazed about my kids. Amaze me. Your kids amaze your kids amaze you, right? Like all the things. It's just
for sure.
You always wonder what you did well. And our kids, my kid. I mean, I'm far, 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 far from perfect, but my kids are. Some days I sit there and watch my kids and grow. I'm just like, man, they're better than me. They're better than me. They're better, which is a good thing, right? Like the trials and stuff that we've gone through, and just our little trials that they've been big trials too, but I'm not going to try to put them in perspective to other people's trials. Everybody goes through trials. So, yeah, I think it helps families come closer and grow, and they see things at an early age, and it helps them understand life, and they go through life and go from there. So,
yep. Well, we just kind of shot from the hip today, and we talked about full circle stuff, but could I just close our time in prayer again?
Yeah.
That'd be all right.
Never going to tell you no. If I told you no, then we would be. If I told you no that you couldn't pray for us, then we would know it'd be a problem.
Well, I don't know. I just felt led that maybe that's where we wrap this up and land the plane.
So. That was the analogy I was going to use about not being in the muck. Was that I was like you're sometimes the air traffic controlman, but you're not on the plane, but you're there. So
yeah, that
was the analogy.
You can see the wreck taking place, but you don't have to watch.
But you're talking, you're a part of it. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about being in the boat, and I was trying to think of a good analogy. I guess if you were in the lighthouse, but you're not really talking to the people in the boat. Sometimes you're just flashing people.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, let me pray for us. Thank you, God, for your love for us and your presence in our life. Thank you for Justin and for Becky, for Brielle and Brenton. And I just thank you for their family and their life. I thank you for this opportunity to get together in this way. I thank you that even when I don't want to, you give us something to do. And so I just praise you for that. Thank you for our conversation. I pray that you'd help us to have clear and discerning minds when it comes to the things of this world. You've called us to be in the world, but not of the world. So whether it's AI or space or whatever conspiracy theory we want to consume ourselves with, Lord, I pray that you keep it in perspective and help us to consume our minds with the things that consume your mind. And as your word tells us, may we be transformed by the renewing of our mind as we continue to seek you. So, Lord, help us to seek you this week. Be with us in all we do. Be with our listeners. Keep them safe. I pray, God, that you would just open doors where they need to be opened, close doors that no man can open, and help us to trust you every step of the way. We just give you our lives totally surrendered to you. We pray it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Well, how's that for full circle?
Jeez, you're amazing.
No, you're amazing.
Thank you. Okay, we're out.
All right. See you next time.
All right. See you later, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Have a good week, man.
You too. See ya.